31 Days, 31 Seeds, Encouraging Lives by Sowing Seeds of Hope and Determination. Day 10. Procrastination. There's a lot of feelings around procrastination. The one feeling I know that usually sticks is the aftermath. When you feel lazy, like, why didn't I do that? Then you can berate yourself. There's just a million things that come along with procrastinating, and most of them are bad feelings. Not good feelings, not feelings that give you a good self-esteem or lift you up. An instance I can give of procrastination in my own life is I worked for a lovely family when I was younger, in my 20s, and they owned the Arizona Mining Company in Akron. It's a really neat jewelry company. They were both silversmiths and goldsmiths, and wow, the things they could do with gold and diamonds when they'd set them in torch or boil them in a pot. And it was a mother and a son who owned the company and ran it together, and I absolutely loved working for them, and we were like family. My mother had known them. I helped put mortar. If anyone had been in the Arizona Mining Company, the inside of it looked like a mine. It had waterfalls coming through. When I was 13 years old, I had a trowel, and I was putting mortar on these walls, helping him build this. As time went on and they were getting ready to close the business, his mother ended up coming down with cancer. She was at home, of course, living out her last days, and life's busy. I constantly had intention to go visit her. I intended to go see her. One thing led to another, and weeks went by, and the next thing I know, I got that phone call. The phone call you don't want to get. I learned that she had passed. Imagine the feelings that I had. I loved this woman. We called her Mama San. She was like my second mother. I loved her dearly. And here I was. I hadn't gone to visit her. Now she's gone. I could never ask her all the questions I wanted to ask her. I could never sit with her and listen to the Broadway, New York, which she absolutely loved. And every time she heard that song, it would just put her in tears. I'll never forget. Procrastination left me feeling wanton. It left me feeling that I did not give her life justice, that I wasn't a good friend. Why didn't I go visit her? And then I began to berate myself. Procrastination can be an ugly little monster. I've heard a lot of my friends lately talk about procrastination and how they've been procrastinating, and I think the last 2 years has caused kind of a lag in a lot of us, really, because it's just been absolutely exhausting, mentally, physically, emotionally. The one thing I decided after I lost Shirley was that would never happen to me again. I would never again let myself procrastinate to where I lost someone. And there was a man very dear to me in my 20s, and he was basically a father to me. He ended up winning a trip to the Bahama Mamas photo shoot in Costa Rica, which is really awesome. So he goes down there, so he goes and he's living the man's dream, and he comes back, and within 6 months, this is right around Christmas, he starts to have like this limp. His leg isn't working right. If any of you know me, being in horticulture, I was listening to some of the things he was saying to me, and I said, I think you've been bitten by a tick. It just seems like Lyme disease. So I asked him about the rash. Of course, he says he doesn't remember seeing a rash, but I'm saying sometimes you don't get a rash. You need to go get tested for Lyme disease. We went into his doctor, and he talked to his doctor, and his doctor said, no, you can't get Lyme disease. We're not even going to test for it. Pretty soon he became weaker and weaker, and they ended up diagnosing him with Lou Gehrig's disease, ALS. As he progresses, if anyone has known a loved one who has gone from ALS, it is not an easy disease. As he's progressing, he's becoming slowly more paralyzed, and he's losing weight. In this time, I'm begging him to get a Lyme test. Begging him, because everything to me is presenting as a tick bite. His doctors brush it off, brush it off, brush it off. Within a year of the diagnosis, he was completely paralyzed, completely bones, and couldn't move anything but his eyeballs. The doctor finally gave him a Lyme test, and wouldn't you know, he tested positive. His wife then had to be tested as well, and she tested positive because if you have Lyme disease, it can be transmitted through bodily fluids. So kissing, being intimate, you can transmit. They started to treat the wife for the Lyme disease, and she made it through. He was too far gone, and if you know anything about Lyme disease, typically when a tick bites you, it can come along with 7 other parasites that most people do not discuss or talk about. Lyme is just one aspect. Usually you are diagnosed with at least 3 of these parasites if you do have Lyme disease. You will usually have 3 parasites on board with that. Basically what happened to my friend, the man who was like a father to me, is he was literally eaten alive by microscopic insects. Like people had diagnosed him with something that no one even knows what it really is. Well, I think Lou Gehrig was a baseball player. Do you think maybe he had gotten bitten by a tick? Most doctors around here won't even acknowledge it. But yes, he ended up being bitten by a black Costa Rican tick. Now, the difference between him and my other friend was the minute this happened to him, I did not leave that man's side. I was there. I was doing anything I could to help him, and I would sit there and rub his feet. When he passed over to the other side, I was holding on to his foot while some of his family was surrounding him. I had decided when Shirley died that I was not going to let procrastination keep me from someone that I love. Work wasn't going to be so important. Money wasn't going to be so important. People's lives are what is important, and we are all individuals. We are all like snowflakes. There will never be another me. There will never be another you or all the people that we love. For day 10, seed 10, I want you to acknowledge your procrastination. We all do it, and it is definitely a feeling. And then think about, if you do continue to procrastinate, how are you going to feel afterwards? Because there will be an after effect from your procrastination. Now, sometimes you can procrastinate and get away with it. It's a silly matter, and you can catch up with it in a few days. But other times, when it comes to the situations I was speaking about, it's life or death. Think about it, and think about how you're going to feel in the aftermath. Maybe sometimes the seed for day 10 is push through. Do not allow procrastination to break your heart, because I love you and I want you to love you. I will see you tomorrow, day 11 for seed 11.